I'm Scott Miller. It is the 17th of January, 2023. This is my vlog of daily life living in León, Nicaragua. That is the city bus turning around behind me. I decided to start the camera a little bit prematurely so that I could grab it for you. Today is Tuesday, and our day is doing a fast turnaround at the border for Paul. So, to give you the rundown on our day, we had to get up really early. I got up at 3:52 this morning, got ready to go. I was ready to get out the door at about 4:15. We ended up all three of us going. Paul drove. I was going to drive the car back, and at the last minute, last night, well, not last night, but yesterday afternoon, Dominica found out that she needed to sign paperwork in Managua for our new Teco fiber internet service. Long story, we've talked about it a bit on the show. We ended up having to get Claro. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath. I should have waited to do the show until I caught up. I was like running up the hill trying to get ready. And we've had Claro internet at the new house because we had to get it in kind of a panic. We didn't have a lot of time to coordinate just because we were so busy. And the Claro is cable in this part of the city, not fiber. And we thought, well, we're going to make do. It's supposed to be 250 by 30. That should be enough. And in theory, it would be, except we're not getting 250 by 30. We're getting about 25 by 15. And it's unstable. And it is in no way whatsoever enough. So at some point, we're going to talk to Claro and see if they can get some of that fixed, because obviously they've oversubscribed. Something's wrong. Like there's serious problems. But we know Teco is fantastic, and we want fiber. So we put in a bunch of work, got the right contacts from Alan, and Dominica has been working to get Teco out. The thing that's difficult about Teco is they require a lot more paperwork than Claro does. Claro is pretty much like, oh yeah, just this simple paperwork. Like, it was not a big deal, and we did it, and they came right out and installed. Teco requires tons of paperwork. We wouldn't be able to do it as normal customers. It's only because we own a business that we're able to do it at all. And sorry for all the shadows. It's kind of late in the day and the sun's going down. I'm actually getting, these are trees that I can't avoid. And they're making us go to Managua to sign paperwork. Well, so we were not in the car very long. We left at about 4:30. We were heading out towards, first we were going to go to Costa Rica and then go to Managua on the way home so that Dominica could sign all the paperwork for that. And as we were heading down, so about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, they already said, oh, we forgot you have to bring a company seal. And we're like, we don't have a company seal. What are you talking about? And then like, oh, you also have to bring your company representative. And we're like, but she lives in León, and you didn't tell us that. We asked yesterday, what's everything that we need? We brought everything you said. I'm going to go into the shade here a little bit because it's a bit extreme in the sun. And they're like, oh, we're really sorry. Yeah, you need all these people and all this stuff that we didn't tell you about. And now you've already left León and you're coming to Managua. Oops. So Dominica was not happy that by about 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 maybe, she already knew that her purpose of getting out of bed and leaving the house for the day was not even real. We weren't going to be able to go deal with that anyway. So that was just stupid. So that was the start of the day. So we did our drive, and it actually went really well, really comfortable, because we left so early in the morning. And trust me, if you're going to do the border runs or anything, if you're going to San Juan del Sur or whatever, you really want to get on the road up here in León by about 4:30, maybe 4:45. And the reason is that you beat the rush hour traffic that's going to head into Managua. Because yes, Managua being the capital and the biggest city and the economic center of the country, and León being the second biggest city, and them being about 90 minutes apart from each other, a lot of people commute at least part of the week between the two. And so whether it's shipments of like agricultural goods or manufactured goods going down to the capital, or workers who are like, lawyers or doctors or whatever, and they work part-time in one and part-time in the other, there's just a lot of commuter traffic on a day-by-day basis going between the two. And so by about 6 o'clock in the morning, the roads are actually really packed until late morning, till about 10:30, and then they get light again. So if you can wait, it's not so much of a problem. But if you want to get down there and get a day in the city or down in that direction, you really need to get past that rush hour traffic, or you're going to just take way longer than than you would otherwise. So worked out great. We had no traffic, and we made it. We don't have to go into Managua to go down to the border. We take the Nicaragua 169 bypass that goes to El Crucero and there to Diriambra and Jinotepe and that direction. without going through the city. So as long as we can beat the traffic coming out of León, we don't have to worry about any traffic in Managua. And we had a straight shot that went incredibly well. So we were actually at the border just a little bit, right almost on the nose at 8:30. So we dropped off Paul, and he went in to do everything he needed to do at customs and at the border. Dominic and I had to just sit there. My original plan was I was going to record an episode for you guys while sitting at the border and possibly do some catch up and get some back episodes done as well. But that I was not able to do. That was unrealistic, partially because Dominica was there with me. So I didn't want to leave her, and I had someone to talk to, which originally was not the plan. And nothing like a country lane and a taxi going by. That was incredibly random. And but also it was very crowded, and we were parked, because Dominica was with me, we parked in a much more high visibility area rather than some ways away and making Paul walk farther. Then I would have been a lot more isolated. I was in the midst of a lot of things going on, and there was a really drunk or possibly high or both guy there who was being excessively weird. And I really didn't want to leave Dominica there. I mean, she would have been in a locked car and it wouldn't have been a big deal. And there's tons of people around, and it's near the border. So it's not like there isn't security, but it also was kind of an odd area. And there's a lot of like pickpockets and a lot of greasy salespeople who come up and pound on windows and trying to sell you tickets you don't need, or luggage carrying services, or things of that nature. So leaving her alone in that felt like a bad idea. So I wanted to stay with her. And going out and filming would have been a little bit difficult because there was a lot of noise and a lot of people. And this guy was actually attacking people who walked by. Now, he wasn't coherent enough to be super violent, but he was definitely being oddly aggressive. But he would come up and he would like kind of punch people. At one point, he had a fight with the wall. I mean, I think he won. He was like the bigger man and walked away. So, I mean, the wall stood its ground. At one point he would like start dancing with guys. They'd like push him away and like tell him off. At one point he grabbed a guy and kind of punched him, and these are random strangers, right? And the guy just turned around and kicked him in the stomach. That settled him down a bit. I mean, he didn't like knock him over or anything, but he definitely gave him a warning shot to the stomach and was like, you need to watch yourself. And one guy almost pushed him down on the ground and was like gonna really get him. And that didn't slow him down, but the kick to the stomach made him think twice about what he was doing. But that went on for hours, right? We were there for just over 2 hours ourselves, and he had been there and he was there when we left. So we mostly just sat in the car and hung out, waited for Paul. Every so often he would text us with updates. Keep in mind, when you're in a border zone, it's really hard to update people. You're not supposed to have your phone at all times. Not that there's no times, meaning at all times, you normally would have a phone. When in a border zone, there are times you don't, or you're not supposed to use it. So we don't always know what's going on. And I'm gonna do a full update this afternoon on what the border crossing is like and what it's like getting there from here. And we'll talk just about that. So this is my telling about my day video, and we'll do the topic later so that I can break that out and people can search on that separately. So if you're looking for more details on that, don't worry, it's coming up in a few hours, assuming you're watching this in real time. Otherwise, it's just the next video. So we sat there, and while we were there, this is actually really cool. Karen from Living Orgasmically up in Matagalpa, who's a YouTuber and artist up there, okay, so real quick story. I think I told this when we were in Matagalpa several months ago for the Corn Festival. I went out and did a bunch of filming and exploring one afternoon before the family went out for Chinese dinner. And while I was out, I was on my way back to the house, and this woman, Karen, stopped me on the street and was like, "Sorry, but I recognize you from YouTube, don't I?" And we ended up talking for a few hours, standing on the street. And she has a new YouTube channel that she's working on getting going. She has Instagram. I'm going to do my best to pop her up here. And so we talked and got to know each other and exchanged information, and she knew how to find me because she knew the channel. Like, she recognized me on the street. Well, we were sitting in the car, and I swear I saw her walk by. And this is what a small world Nicaragua is, right? That we met in Matagalpa, which is way up in the northeast, and then I'm sitting literally on the Costa Rican border, and I'm in like an odd little spot. I'm not like sitting in the border so every person is passing by me. I'm over on the side. I'm sitting by a little outdoor restaurant, a little parking spot that most people don't end up going to, and she walks right in front of the car and goes, and I'm looking and I'm like, I think that's Karen, and Dominica's like, do not hop out of the car and be that guy who's like, hey, I know you, right? And so I'm like, yeah, she's just far enough away, and I haven't seen her in months, and we've only met that one time in person. I'm not going to, jump out of the car, especially with this weird group of people going on. So I really quickly got on my phone and Instagrammed her and WhatsApped her, and I'm like, are you at the border? And it was too late by the time she responded, but it was her, and she was crossing. She's going to Costa Rica for the week or whatever, and we were just doing the turnaround, so I couldn't go she had already gone to the border zone, so I couldn't catch up with her. But really funny that I ran into her. So hey, Karen, great seeing you, even if for a split second from a distance. But if you haven't checked her out on Instagram, follow her, and if her YouTube channel is up and running, I will do my best to link that. Go subscribe to her as well. Content from the mountains. And so that all happened while we were sitting there. Paul had no issues. He did an out and back in, which kind of gives away the plot of the upcoming video. But so that was really easy. Just over 2 hours, got back in the car, and then he drove and we headed back, and we had a really easy drive back. Traffic was light. The day was gorgeous. You can see it's a beautiful day here in Nicaragua. It was like this pretty much the entire way. The only time we ran into anything that was different is we did hit heavy cloud cover, no rain or anything, just heavy cloud cover in El Crucero on the southbound direction. On the northbound, it was sunny like this. The southbound was beautiful. It was that thick volcanic cloud that's so gorgeous and so heavy, and the sun looked like a moon coming through it, right? You could stare straight at it. It was so thick. It was really cool. I always love being up there. So beautiful. And it was just a gorgeous day for a drive. On the way down, we had stopped only at a gas station and grabbed some real quick, just, sodas or chips or whatever. Didn't do anything fancy because we were in a hurry. You want to get to the border as quickly as possible. But on the way home, we had lots of time. So Dominica was like, I really want to go to Burger King, and we talked Paul into going into, because Burger King, is one of the few places we can get like veggie burgers that we really like crave. And so we got him to go into Managua. It's about a 40-minute extra hop overall, but we know our way around. It's not a big deal. Drove to the Burger King near the Metro Centro and stopped there and ate. And I ate 2 Whoppers. Dominica got a Whopper. Paul got chicken. And then we got food for the family to bring back, and some food for Dominica for later to put in the fridge, and left Managua and came back to León after that. So we were home. Even with that extra 40-minute hop, we were here by 3:15 in León, all the way in the far side of León. If we lived on the other side of León, we'd have been home by 3. And if you count that we would have left earlier, we'd have been home by 2:45, right? Like, this is not a bad turnaround time for doing what we did and all the things that we had to do. So it was a very successful day. So right now it is currently 4:05 by the time I'm at this point in the recording. I'm going to record this afternoon's video. I'm going to start uploading. I'm going to do a little bit of video editing that I can do. Right now I've got a couple things that are backlogged, so doing okay to get those up. And I have one day to record yet that is missing. The 11th is already uploaded. The 12th is not yet recorded. The 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th are recorded, and and this is the 17th I'm doing right now. So I'm really close to being in really, really caught up good shape. I just have that one day that I've got to address, and then we'll be really good. Tomorrow is going to be really busy in the office because today I took the day off completely. So there's just this huge backlog of things that I didn't do, right? So just a lot of things come in for me during the day. So tomorrow is going to be a bit nuts. And a new project came in today, which is awesome. And I have I think a sales meeting or something is scheduled for me in the morning, and then Thursday morning, which is in 2 days, I'm going to be covering the early morning shift. I am a little bit tired because I didn't sleep well 2 nights ago, and last night I didn't get to bed until midnight-ish, and I had to be up before 4 o'clock this morning, and I was already really tired from the night before, so I'm really looking forward to getting some sleep tonight. However, after I do a couple hours of video editing this evening, our plan is, I think we're getting pizza with Marcella. She's here working in town with some of y'all, and because she helps with real estate stuff and furnishing and shopping and like all the things that people, the local logistics that people need of moving in, whether it's looking for a house. I know several people are like getting in queue to work with her on finding an apartment or whatever, because she helps with just, you know, helping search, take pictures, find what you need, whatever. But she then also is available to help with things like furnishing a house, decorating a house, running around and doing all the errands that you do to move in. So she's been really busy doing that this week, which is fantastic. So she's only went home to, because she lives in Managua, right? So she went back home to Managua over the weekend and came back early this morning. She's coming over this evening because she's coming out with Dominica and I and April and a whole bunch of people to a big party at Via Via this evening with live music and everything. So that is our plan. I go there about 8 o'clock. So I'll try to record something about how that went for the video and add that on. Maybe I'll even record while I'm there. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Sometimes I manage to do that. I know you guys like it. I will do my best. And yeah, so that was our day for the most part, and what's coming up here on the 17th. It was an exhausting day, but very successful, and we learned more. Every time we learn a little bit more, and it gets better and better. And other than that, I'm just going to take this chance to say, please remember to like and subscribe. Get down in the comments, ask your questions. If you really want to know about doing the border stuff, specifically any details about that, you know, if it's about my day or general stuff, ask here. But if you want to know about the border stuff, look for the other video that should be posting. If you're watching this live when it first drops, it'll be here in about 4 hours. I post the dailies at 7, and if I do a topic separate from that, I try to post it at 11, whatever time zone central. And so if you have questions about that, post on that one. That'll be the better place to discuss that. But all the other stuff you want to know, get down in here. You want to know about Burger King and what to order, do it here. Sadly, just a quick note, the amazing selection of options at Burger King for vegetarians in Costa Rica, not available here in Nicaragua. The only one is the Veggie Whopper, which is still fantastic. That's fine. We don't mind. But if they could bring in the veggie chicken stuff that they have in Costa Rica, we would be really happy. But if you're Costa Rica, you really don't want Nicaragua to do that, because that's a reason why we want to hop over to Liberia. Not as much as to get Indian food, but you know. And that's about it. If you'd like to support the channel, of course, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ScottLMiller. I'll put it on screen, put it down below. That makes a big difference. And of course, you can buy my book if you happen to be technical or just want to read about what it is I do. I did publish a book. I always put that link down below. We are now selling enough that it's like noticeable that they're actually selling for a technical book. That's actually a pretty good thing. Like it's a low bar, but it's a huge part of my life. It's where I was doing all of 2021. It's why, and you may hate the book for this reason, but it's why there weren't as many video updates in 2021, because I was every day writing this book. But it is out and has been for a while, and that does a ton to support me. And if you really want to get my book and then go leave a review on Amazon, wow, does that help. And of course, share on social media. Tell your friends about the show or my book, whatever, and I will see all of you tomorrow.